This third example is pretty complex compared to the first two, and so here it's going to be very important that we're counting up all of the different edges or the different unique aspects horizontally and vertically. So I'm actually going to start in the bottom left corner just because it is farther left than the top left corner. And so this is going to help me to be like the home spot that I'm going to count from horizontally and vertically. So if I count horizontally, I'm going to go move to the right, and any corners or edges that I pass, I'm going to count because that's going to be a dimension that I need. So as I move to the right, the first thing that I see is this top corner. So that's 1, then this edge is 2, then this next edge is 3, and this last edge is 4. So I'm going to need 4 horizontal dimensions. I'm going to change my color just so that we can keep track of which dimensions are which. So starting at the same point, I'm going to move upwards, and I'm going to count any edges or corners that are unique as I move to the top, because that's going to necessitate a vertical dimension. So the first edge that I see is this one, the second one is this one, and the third one is the top. And so I'm going to need 3 vertical dimensions. And then we're not going to need any size dimensions because there aren't any curves or circles here. And so the total number of dimensions we're going to need are 7. And so we are going to add those to our final drawing on the right here. And I want you to notice that by doing the entire width and the entire height, it's going to allow us to do fewer dimensions that are small, which are harder to write. And so what we want is we kind of want to write the biggest dimensions we can and just let the person who's reading our drawing and redrawing it, let them do some math to calculate the smaller parts, smaller dimensions. So the full width, I'm going to draw from this bottom left corner. And I'm going to make this go super far away since I know I've got so many dimensions that I'm going to need to include in my drawing. So my full width, if I count it from this corner, is 1, 2, 3, 10. And then I'm going to look at the next biggest width. And so that's actually to this edge right here, which is just 1 fewer, which is 9. And so I'm going to drop another extension line down. And then I'm going to write 9 here. And what that allows people to do is they can subtract those if they need to in order to figure out that this space right here is just 1. The next largest dimension, and I need 4 total horizontal. The next largest is to this dimension right here, and to this edge. So if I count that, it is, and it might be hard to see, I'm talking about this edge. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So I'm going to drop an extension line down for that and put 7. And now I have a choice. The last one that I could do is from my bottom corner to this top corner up here. And that would be a horizontal dimension of 3. 1, 2, 3. Or what I could do is I could go from this top corner to a different horizontal dimension I've already done. So maybe I would go to like this last edge that we did down here, or one of the other edges on the side. To keep this consistent, since I can fit a 3 in a dimension, I am going to just do it to our original point. But I want you to keep in mind that if these dimension, if it wasn't 3, if it was something like 1 or 2, that you might want to go and use a different reference point so that you're not trying to sneak in too small of a dimension. So for this last line, I'm going to draw it from that top corner all the way down, write the size of 3, and then write my dimension line by picking up my pen. I also have to add arrows to my 7. I didn't have that. And now I'm going to move on to vertical dimensions. So for my vertical dimensions, I'm going to draw off to the right, just because most of my vertical edges are on, if you look at this shape, most of my vertical edges are on the right side. But that is going to mean that I'm going to be crossing a few dimension lines, and that's okay to do as long as we make it as few as possible. So I'm going to start with the full height by drawing an extension line from the bottom, giving myself lots of room, since again, I know there are going to be lots of dimensions that are nested within each other. And then I have to count how big this shape is. So starting at the bottom floor, I'm going to go up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And so I'm going to write that dimension way outside, 10. And then I'm going to draw my dimension line. Next, I'm going to go to my second largest vertical dimension, which is this edge. And so that's only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 high. So I'll draw a dimension line out from that, or excuse me, an extension line. Label that distance. And then the last one that I need, since I only need 3 vertical dimensions, is from the bottom to this edge. Excuse me, which is 4. And so I'm going to write, not write, draw some lines, then write. And so this is a fully dimensioned drawing. Now notice there are a few intersections on the right side, like here and here. But as long as I see that you made an effort to minimize how many intersections we have, that will be acceptable for your drawing.